Hi, Caleb. I'm Gabriella. I'm going to be your LCSW today. I'm really glad you're here. Before we get started, I wanted to go over a couple of important things. Everything that we talk about in this space is confidential, which means I won't share your information without your permission. The main exception um, is if you mention killing yourself or killing others. And if you mentioned any abuse of a child, disabled, or elderly person, then I am required to report. My goal today is just to create a space where you feel comfortable being opened, and we'll work together at your pace. Um, and in working together today, I'll be using cognitive behavioral therapy or CBT, which focuses on how our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors are connected and help us identify and change some unhelpful thinking patterns. How does that sound?
That sounds okay. Yeah.
And
Thank
do
you for
you,
explaining everything.
of course, and do you feel that you also understand the confidentiality policies?
I do. Yeah. You went into very much detail about what it is that I like am allowed to talk about, and then what is outside of the scope.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm glad that you understood everything clearly. So, Caleb, what brings you in today?
So I am having work performance. Like I am very, I have the jitters. I have performance anxiety, I guess. I'm not doing so well at work. I'm nervous because I've had a meeting with my boss and it didn't really go so well. And so I am just trying to get by with work right now. It's somewhat unstable, but I am looking right now, I'm looking for another job, but I'm maintaining this job for the current moment.
Okay, so in your meeting, what maybe didn't go so well?
So I am having a hard time with time management. And so trying to balance just life and work. And I am getting behind on all my deadlines at work. My performance with trying to do data analysis, it's going down. And so I'm trying to, as the best of I can, try to take shortcuts, but it's only furthering me back.
Okay, okay, I see.
Yeah.
And when how strong are you feeling about this from a 0 to 100? How much is this really impacting you and your ability to work?
I would say this is impacting me about 80% of the time. The other 20%, I'm able to do, my work on time. I'm able to focus on doing the actual activities while not, messing around on my phone or doing different tabs on the computer and things like that. Like I get very like a squirrel. Like if something comes up, I beeline to something else.
Okay. And so those are some pretty strong feelings. So feeling an 80%, that sounds pretty strong and I imagine extremely stressful. Um, so let's sort of look at that thought. You say that you kind of feel like you're unable to focus and then kind of time gets away from you. Am I hearing that correctly?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Okay. So would you say that that's always true in most cases, or is it just maybe in this specific field or line of work?
I would say it's when I get home after a very busy day, it's hard for me to focus as well. But I feel like it's even more so at work because I have all these things that I need to get done at home. And so even when I'm at work, I'm focusing on something else.
Okay, so Do you feel that there's a way that you could possibly find balance in between the two? Um, Being able to focus both at work and still not neglect anything going on at home? Excuse me.
Um, I feel like maybe writing things down like a to-do list
That sounds
would
like a great
be,
idea.
yeah, would be something of the sorts that I could do. Like, maybe giving me a couple of like things to do at work and then a couple of things to do at home
Okay.
to start off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I do like that idea. Um, Something else we can discuss is so balancing that out would look like making a list, like you said. So some stuff at home, some stuff at work. Um, do you think that that would give you the opportunity to um, manage both? Or you mentioned still looking for another job. If you were being able to utilize that tool, would you stay with your current job, or do you think you'd still move on?
I think it depends on like how my next performance scale,
Okay.
my next review on how I'm doing with the work. Because right now it's not really paying the bills, but I'm getting by.
Okay.
And so if I can look for something that's higher paying, then I would go for that.
Okay. So if you were able to balance this out, it would be something more temporary, regardless you feel that maybe looking elsewhere might be a better fit.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, well, let's focus on balancing out for now. And so you mentioned doing a homework log of tasks to do at home and tasks to do at work. So let's definitely work with that. Something else I want you to do is when you're feeling this sort of imbalance and like you mentioned, kind of like a squirrel reference of being pulled in different directions, attention wise, let's go ahead and do sort of like a thought log. So when you're having and noticing those strong emotions of being pulled, let's write down what happened, and kind of the thoughts you have behind it and how intense that really felt for you in that time. And then we can kind of look at those thoughts, and together collaboratively we can create balance from, realistic tasks that you can do to stay focused, and viewing the situation at hand. How does that sound?
That sounds good. Yeah, I like the idea of having my thoughts on paper
Okay.
and seeing like previous thoughts. And so I like that idea.
Okay. So just to sort of summarize things up, we talked about just sort of this feeling at work of just not but your performance review and it not going the way you had hoped, and then just getting maybe some feedback, and wanting to and you're wanting to focus a little bit more between work and home. And we discussed how you felt about that and connecting those feelings to your behaviors, which was um, not feeling that are behaving in a way that where you're distracted. So what we're going to do is let's practice, going through that log. And then that's going to kind of create like some more evidence for us to create the balance between your thinking patterns. So this week, try using that thought log. And then next week, we can really look at those patterns and just really build on that. How does that sound? Does that sound like it kind of summarized our visit today?
Yeah, it did. It definitely did summarize, and I will definitely, jot down what I'm noticing over the week, and that way I can come back to you and then we can go further into it.
Yeah, and I know you mentioned the writing different tasks for at home and at work. So if you can, I know that would be two homework tasks, but if that's something you can do, I think that would be super beneficial. But if you feel like that's not something you can do, let's really focus on the thought log. That way we can even maybe come up with some tasks together on how to balance the two.
Okay. Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Okay, Caleb. Well, it was really nice meeting with you today. How does next week, this same time, same day work for you?
Yeah, this time works perfect for me. I get off of work, and so I come straight here right after work.
Okay, perfect. Then I will see you then. You have a great day.
Awesome. Thank you. Have a good night.